Welcome, students, to Monk Meditation, the show about monks in the world of Warcraft.
Welcome to Monk Meditation. Tonight, the Lady Monks have taken over once again for Ladies' Night Part 2. We'll be discussing the latest beta changes, taking your questions, and letting you know how we're all preparing for Warlords of Draenor. This is Monk Meditation, episode 29. I'm Dark Lady from Darkspear EU, and tonight I'm joined by some fabulously gorgeous Lady Monks. How are you guys all doing? Tiger Crane, how are you?
I'm doing fine. It's been a long haul, but there's finally an end in sight, man. It's good to finally have a drop date.
And another Lady Monk that you should all know very well by now, the lovely Sonia. How are you? Yeah?
I am fantastic. Excited to have only 3 months left.
And Jade Dot, maker of the Chi-Burst forums. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and like everybody else, I'm very enthusiastic and looking forward to November.
Fantastic. And my EU sister, Stormy. How are you?
Doing good. I can't wait for this to be over, this tier, finally.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's check in with tonight's host on how WoW is now in
Storm, Earth,
and fire!
Okay, Tiger Crane, how has WoW been for you lately?
Pretty much, Ajantis is just selling runs at this point. So, one night of raid's really nice. Making lots of money, which I'm probably going to spend all when Warlords comes. Sadness.
And Sonia, what have you been up to?
Well, I took a brief little vacation from raiding, but now I'm back, and we've been busy running lots and lots of trials through Siege of Orgrimmar, trying to grow up to mythic size.
So you guys still currently 10 man, or have you got your 20 yet?
We probably have like 15, so we're growing, and it's getting better.
Awesome. And Stormy, how have you been doing in WoW recently?
Good. Just to have everything on farm for forever at the moment, or at least it feels like it. Clearing 3 times a week is kind of, taking its toll. It'd be nice to have it over and just playing around on different characters and stuff.
Awesome. And J-Dot, what about you?
Well, my raid team quit back in April and during phase 3 of Heroic Garrosh progression. I think some of you probably remember that, but I finally have a new team again, and so we started last week, I guess, or the week before. We got 8 of 14 Heroic already,
nice.
And so now we just need to get the rest of it, so we can finally have it done.
My group got Heroic Thok down. Sadly, I wasn't on my monk, I was on my hunter because he does more damage. So I think I need to work on my DPS a little bit. I did have a go at solo tanking Thok on the Brewmaster as well, which was a horrendous amount of fun, to be honest. I'm not sure if we're going to make Garrosh before we get to WOD now, but fingers crossed.
You got 3 months.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see what happens when 6.0 comes out and go 20-man fun. Okay, it is time to get caught up in the crazy whirlwind of WoW news in
Dizzying haze.
Okay, so we've actually had the official drop date, which is the 11th, 13, 14, and it is a Thursday release. So what do you guys think about that?
I think it's really interesting that they justified that they're not going to... they pushed it to a Thursday release because they didn't want to release it on Armistice Day. But raiding is really going to start kicking off during Thanksgiving.
It's a big holiday for you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that over here.
No, we don't have it either. It's just a normal day.
Well, isn't it? It's the week after Thanksgiving, isn't it? That it'll launch the raids.
The 13th, I think, isn't it? Or no, the raids are 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
After launch, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what did everyone think of the new cinematic? We're just going to touch on this briefly because after
I think no
Sweltering orc pecs.
Yeah. They were pretty epic.
I think
I just
nobody.
hope we get to see more demons.
Yeah.
That's my big draw.
Well, they have promised that Grom's raid is going to have a lot of Legion influence, so demons everywhere. Or maybe bright green on the walls instead of like just dark purple like Siege was.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Some of the fell influence. I don't know. I think nobody does a cinematic better than Blizzard. They always knock it out of the park.
Like, it was weird because, like, you could see, like, all the pores on, like, Grom's face and the individual beads of sweat. Like, it was so hyper detailed. It's just, like, Blizzard just has a standard for their cinematics that no other company really matches right now.
Okay, so raids are going to be starting 2 weeks after launch, and it'll be gated released like it was in Mists of Pandaria. I mean, for me, I think that's quite a nice amount of time. I know Stormy, you've got 10 tunes to level for raiding, but for those of us that only have like the 1 or 2, I think like I was a little bit worried that it was just going to be mad rush to get leveled and geared, or relatively geared, within a week, which scared me a little bit.
Thank goodness. I mean, I remember how much of a rush it was just to Mist because, all the monks started at level 80 if you did recruit a friend, and, level 1 if you didn't. So there was this breakneck race to get through the catacon, leveling content, get into Mist. By the time you got into Mists, you were a day, sometimes a day and half a day behind everyone else on your server who are already going into her, and that means you were a day and a half sometimes behind everyone hitting 90, and that meant you were all that further behind on getting into heroic teams, getting into the instances, getting your gear up, starting your rep grinds. So, I'm glad that they're giving everyone such a long grace period, especially for guilds like, Stormy, who have multiple alts.
Yeah, we're required to, because we're going to be splitting the raids and stuff like that. Like, we're aiming to stay top 20, so we need the alts, we need the time. Like, I raid in 2 guilds on top of all this, so I have to level more. It's wonderful.
So how many do you actually have to level altogether within the 2 weeks?
4 or 5.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You're brave.
Want to buy experience boost, please.
I hate
all
leveling. I hate questing as well. I've done like 1,000 quests on my account. Like, that's how much I hate them. But
wow,
yeah, it has to be done. I don't get a choice anymore.
No, but to touch on what Tiger said, I mean, that's so true, at the beginning. And so I'm grateful for the extra time, but it really sucked when you were behind everybody because, like, everyone in my guild already had gone through everything. So I had to go into the heroics by myself. And, like, the first one was a nightmare. And they're like, do we even have a healer? She sucks. And it's like, and I just said, yeah, I do. I'm playing a brand new class that no one's ever played it really except for beta. And so bear with me. And the group actually ended up being nice. They didn't kick me, and it was slow going, but we got it.
I was a shaman on mop launch, so I've only been a monk since Siege.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I wasn't even here. I wasn't even born. I didn't start playing until I started playing just after Heart of Fear was launched, I think. And I was actually on a Warlock then, so...
I was enhancement for 9 years.
Like someone in the dojo mentioned, like, the feat of strengths are gone, and I remember that there was significant dicking around and sabotage between the factions over who got server first for certain classes. I mean, there was headhunting going on, like tanks going in there and pulling mobs so that people couldn't get their quests done, kind of craziness.
Oh, they changed a lot of that?
Yeah,
Like
they're gone. There's no more feat of strength for, server first monk, server first hunter, server first stuff.
You mentioned the tagging mobs thing in beta. They've changed it. I'm really excited about that. Sorry.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, like, I'm just glad Blizzard is continuing to make these little polishes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go to, like, other games and you're like, why can't I have multiple menus open at once, Final Fantasy XIV? Why do I have to be dismounted to interact with everything? And it just makes you really appreciate, like, WoW has had those 10 years to fix things like that.
Yeah, they pretty much sort of got it right now. So the LFR gear is actually going to be available from the new challenge mode dungeons, and you don't have to get a gold timer to get your piece of loot. You can, I don't know how many times you can run it every day. I'm assuming it's more than once. But I think this is going to be, for me personally, I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a really nice tool to bring like guildies together. Outside the sort of raiding environment. I mean, for our guild, we've got quite a lot of social people that just like to, you know, chill out in guild chat and just run old raids and potter about and do their bits. And it'll be really nice to kind of like play alongside them as well, because we don't get to kind of raid with them in a team because they just don't raid for, you know, whatever reason they don't want to. So what do you guys think about that?
I think it's going to be a nice way to, you know, you're probably going to be spending a lot of time in those heroics anyway, so it's going to be nice to just flip the switch and do something different once a day. Be able to go in like, okay, let's do a challenge mode, then we can go back to the normal runs of whichever, and you know, you get the possibility to walk out with a really nice piece of gear.
It gives us a headway as a high-end raiding guild. It gives us a way, like, we can get geared and multiple characters. We can keep running things. Like, challenge modes are pretty much, you can do them as many times as you want. So it gives us big headway with ults and stuff. So
I mean, just having one or two pieces of good gear going into that first day of raiding is a humongous difference.
Yeah, it's going to make a lot of difference. I do quite like the fact that they're not having the tier set gear and the special trinkets and stuff available for LFR either. That's I think like the people that, not the awful, like the sort of people that can't raid, but the kind of awful people that just literally troll through LFRs all day. I don't like walking around in the same gear as them. I think I'm going to enjoy walking around in my well-earned tier pieces, to be honest.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Initially, I wasn't thrilled about that, but actually listening to your guys' point, that makes a lot more sense to me, because I still thought that, you know, kind of like how the PvPers didn't like that, or you know, that PvP gear would drop in raids, like some of the world bosses and stuff. So, you know, I like your points. Maybe change my mind about the CM gear.
So this raid gear is also going to be available through various garrison missions. I'm a big Sunsong Ranch fan, so I can't wait to get my garrison. I know a lot of people can't be bothered with things like that, but I'm really sad, and I have lots of tunes and I love stuff, so I can't wait to get my garrison. It's going to be huge. It's going to be fabulous. Everything's going to look fantastic, and everyone's just going to want to chill out there.
I hate the garrisons. Sorry, go ahead.
You have so many tunes to level. How could you have time?
Exactly. It's a waste of my time. It's not part of raiding. Why should I have to do it?
Well, I like it because, especially for someone like me who, like, I have a lot of ults, but I don't really fancy the idea of going and leveling a profession with each ult. One thing the garrisons do really well is that, you know, once you get your levels capped out, it's a really nice way of just basically keeping you in stock of your profession materials without having to go to the auction house. I enjoy it also because it's really, really going to kick the farming bots in the shins pretty hard, because you can go to your mine and you can go to your garden once a day, and you can essentially keep yourself in, like, you know, materials for your pots, materials for your flasks, and pretty much anything else you really will need to raid done there.
Yep.
I think that's pretty cool. So 6.0 has been announced. It will be out 1 month before release, and that is confirmed now, is it?
That was on, I think it was Halinka?
Yes.
But it was definitely on the interviews and a lot of the press, because, you know, the devs have been on a pretty big press tour for the past couple of weeks doing a lot of interviews and stuff. So yeah, that was definitely in one of the press tours that was posted on MMO Champion.
Well, that's pretty awesome. At least we've got a month to test out some of the stuff. So how many changes are actually going to be part of the 6.0 patch? What are we expecting to see?
It should be pretty much everything except what you get while leveling. So no 100 talents and no perks, but typically mechanics are in there.
Yes,
So
Nufus
all
to
the-
Fury changes.
What about the item squish? Is that happening too, or?
It should be.
I hope it is.
Oh, wow,
It gives
okay.
us time to adapt and get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't particularly like being on beta with all these small numbers, but
Yeah.
I'd rather be broken in instead of it all just sort of all thrown in your face. There you go, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's going to be a shock for people who haven't been in the beta.
Yeah, a bit of a shock to the system.
But
Yeah,
you
it will
know,
be for me.
I think everyone in beta adjusted to it really quickly, and I think like most everyone will. And I think you'll finally kind of settle the panic that people have about the item squish.
No, I like the item squish. I mean, it brings us down to actual reasonable numbers, not doing
Yeah.
like 1.2 million DPS on a boss and
you
stuff
know-
like that. So
And really, like, the game can't survive.
yeah.
Because one of the reasons is it's just a coding issue that they have to do the item squish.
Yeah.
The game literally cannot handle the numbers we would, if they kept the scaling as it is now, the game would not be able to process the numbers we would be putting out by the end of the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like bringing the numbers down to a reasonable level. It's just like the game being able to continue.
Well, I
It'd
heard
be quite nice to get used to on content that you're used to as well, I suppose, for people that haven't had a people that haven't had a beta. I guess, like, for me, I mean, it'll be nice for me to get used to stuff, and I mean, I can try out things and see what I like and what I don't like about it before, rather than having to go and settle into a completely new raid tier content and then go, do you know what, I don't even like this. This is horrible. And then having to change all over again because it just messes up stuff for people. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to 6.0.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and now to keep your spirits up while the world changes around you.
The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
Uplift. Don't worry, I'm sure it happens to other monks too.
Okay, this is a bit where I don't really have much to say because poor Cat doesn't have a beta. Please, Wowhead, give me one. I would really enjoy it. So over to you guys that have actually had the privilege of playing on the infamous beta. What changes have been happening recently? What's been going on? Have things been getting better? Have things been getting worse? I know Stormy not overly happy about Mistweavers. Apparently not very good at the moment. Jabs
Tank
going back to
killers.
45 energy, 20% damage given to Tiger Stance, reducing the abilities by 20% to counter. So what are you guys thinking at the moment, and how are you finding the beta?
Apparently, I was wrong on my prediction on the Windwalker roundtable a couple weeks ago. I predicted that they wouldn't change Jab's energy, so I'm happy to be wrong, though. I am quite happy to be wrong because it's rough. Not gonna lie, because once you hit it, especially during leveling, haste seems to evaporate off any sort of questing gear rewards. So, it definitely helps a lot because I think that change is live on the beta now, correct?
Not yet. It will be soon.
Alright, soon, okay.
yeah.
Can't tell with all the DDoS happening.
I've done Windwalker testing. That's
yeah.
all I've been doing at the moment. So.
Yeah. So, it's gonna help a lot, and especially with the other talent changes that they've made. I'm less concerned with Windwalker going into the first tier.
I think they're going to be quite strong, actually. Like that, this is literally all I've been doing is testing Windwalker. Our AOE is still a little tiny bit broken, but its Chi explosion is still pretty good. Hurricane Strike is good. Whenever you use it with proper stacks of Tiger Eyebrow and stuff, it's pretty amazing. Windwalker is quite fluid and smooth. At least I find it that way. Like I find it very, very enjoyable compared to Mistweaver. So Mistweaver's
So-
sad.
What have they done to Mistweavers, Stormy? Did they break it?
They didn't do anything to it. That's a problem. No, our scaling is really wrong. Like I do like half the healing of other healers at the moment. I'm having to spam everything to do half the healing. It's horrible. Revival still sucks. It does nothing. I pop it and the raid doesn't move. Life Cocoon surprisingly is quite nice actually because one of the perks is reduced CD. So it's not so bad. 45
nice.
seconds off it. It's
wow.
very, very nice.
That's really nice.
Just overall, like I don't even have uplift on my bar, for example, because it's such a useful spell now. Not just because of the diminishing returns, but because it only heals for like 3k, which
Wow.
like if I give you like a variation of the numbers, a rejuve ticks for 3k, Renew ticks for about 3 or 4k. Riptide the same. Renewing Mist heals for 800. So
Wow.
I feel useful. A chain heal.
R.I.P. uplift.
Yeah, a chain heal is like I think last I checked was like 15k or something, 10k, give or take. I could be a wee bit wrong in there. My uplift heals for 3k. So I just Chi Explosion. That's the only thing you have. So
And and that also hurts like Windwalker survival as well, since we're we're essentially losing our healing spheres for soothing.
yeah,
That also hurts us too.
I noticed that actually. Testing Black Hands, the last boss, the end game boss. I was running away and I was pressing my keybind for healing spheres. I was like, oh, I have to cast. No, it quite hurt actually. Like losing my healing spheres as a DPS at least. But no, Mistweavers were the second best tank healers. Like, that's nice, but we're designed to be an AE healer, not a single target healer, so I'm quite upset about it. But we'll see what they do. I'm not holding out for very much, but we'll see. I don't know how Brewmasters are doing though. Like, is there any word on them? Did Sunny's Brewmaster?
I haven't had a chance to do any testing because I work during the day, but from what I hear, they were a bit behind other tanks, but we did get buffed in the last patch, at least passive stuff. So I'm not too worried, really. We have so few changes, and we're pretty great to begin with.
Yeah, we had one of our tanks went Brewmaster for one of the bosses. He did really well, actually. So survivably, anyway.
Well, hey, actually, Sunny, I'm curious because of how they've redistributed cooldowns. Like, do you feel like Brewmasters are still like lacking significant cooldowns at this point?
Like raid cooldowns?
Yeah, like especially in comparison to other tanks, because warriors are keeping a lot of their stuff, paladins are keeping a lot of their stuff. I'm not quite sure what druids are getting, but DKs are getting some stuff too. Like as far as just like tank CDs.
As far as avert harm and stuff.
Raid stuff, I'm not too worried, just because what we like avert harm was kind of like a very niche thing to use anyway. So that's barely a loss. And then the guard statue contributed quite a bit, but it's like unreliable. So it's not, you can't just say like, oh, we'll do a lot better on this fight because we have a guard statue now. It's more like, well, hopefully it lands on the right people. And so I don't.
What it wants, doesn't it?
Oh, monks are just RNG bots, aren't we? Mistweaver RNG, Brewmaster RNG. Oh.
Windwalker RNG with mastery.
Mistweaver RNG mastery. Go stand on my orb, please. Stand on my orb. No, okay. No.
So it seems that they're making tanks, and all tanks, not just monks, but I think all tanks are actually meant to just be tanks now. Because I mean, I understand that they've taken away the statue. I did actually tweet Celestial and ask why they'd done it. I'm not really that bothered about it, but I just wondered why. And it's, I suppose, like, I mean, I watched your stream, Sonia, where you were doing Heroic Garrosh, and some of those absorbs were just filth.
Oh,
they were disgusting. I was like, did she just absorb 900? What? I'm like, hang on, sorry, excuse me, just 1 second. Did that statue just do that? That is.
And then it sticks on the people forever because they don't take damage until like the next whirl, and then it's like, well, I'm real glad you have that shield.
Healer redundant. So priest healers probably hate us.
Envies.
So let's have a look. What have we got? 18th of the 8th. The patch had DPS and tank tuning, and the healing tuning is not yet done. Is it?
I don't think it's done.
Chi explosion damage has been nerfed by about 30%. So what was that like before? Was it kind of crazy, or I've not really had a look?
It's amazing when you.
Does it look good though?
Yeah, on the train boss, that's what I call him. I don't actually know his real name. There's loads of ads that come off the train, and SEF Chi explosion. Oh my god, I'm topping DPS, no problem. One button. It is amazing. Chi explosion for Windwalkers, at least. For Mistweaver, it's kind of whatever. But for Windwalker, it's like, whoa, look at that. Like, it needs nerf. Like, it definitely needs nerf. Even single target, it's my highest damage. So it's like, oh god.
Sounds like it's going to be a go-to talent. So we've also had power strikes now being triggered every 15 seconds up from 20. Windwalker Jab has had the energy reduced to 45. And the Mistweaver changes. The Chi Brew now grants 1 charge of Mana Tea instead of 2. So how are we
it's not
feeling
gonna
about
change us.
that? How is the mana for Mistweavers at the moment?
Fine. Well, at least I find it fine. I don't know about you, J-Dot. Did you struggle with anything?
No, not really.
Yeah, the Chi Brew nerf I don't think is really going to affect us. I'm still going to choose Chi Brew all the time though because of the Chi.
Right.
So I don't care about the Ascension really. Like so.
Yeah.
It's always
So what's happening with Ascension now? It's increasing maximum mana by 15% instead of 10, and increasing the energy regen for Windwalkers and Brewmasters by 20%. I mean, me on my Brewmaster, I don't run any haste at all, so I don't even know whether... I do run Ascension on my Brewmaster, though.
Energy regen on the betas. Energy regen on the beta is pretty broken. It doesn't regen very fast at all. At least I find that problem.
Right.
Haste isn't really scaling with it, so Ascension would be nice to have as a Windwalker. At least, I guess it would really depend on what you're doing, I guess, at the time. Because, I mean, my Tiger Library, I don't know about you, Tiger, but mine was stacking like crazy. Like, it was maddening.
I have 0 issues, even with running Ascension of keeping Tiger's Eye Brew up. It's just...
Yeah.
Which is really strange because, like, as slow as it feels, like, around 95, 96 especially, like, you know, it's like, I don't know, is that a broken thing, or they just really kicked mastery up, really, you know, are mastery scaling somewhere? Like,
I think they have, because in the mythic testing that I was doing, like, Tiger Brew, I always had, like, 20 stacks, despite using 17 all the time and stuff like that, and 10 and this and that. I still always had Tiger Arbor sitting there. I never had a problem with it. So it was like, oh, well, I don't really need, you know, the Chi Brew like I used to use to build up my stacks anymore. It's the spec itself is really, it's slowed down compared to like live right now. That's very spammy. On beta, it's slowed down quite a bit. I really, really enjoy it on beta. It's quite enjoyable. Like,
yeah, now that, you know, I haven't been able to test, unfortunately, but like on your pre-made hundreds, it does not feel bad, especially with, you know, some of the changes that have come down. I think a lot of people, like a lot of the scare, you know, it's being answered. A lot of the issues with the slowdown being too slow is being addressed. Oh. But yeah, I'm not worried about it.
It's not too slow. That's the thing. Like, lots of people keep saying, oh, it's really, really slow and I don't like it and this and that, but I loved it. It is a really, really nice spec now, like compared to live where I'm having to spam and I'm having to watch my trinkets all the time to snapshots and this and that, and it's like
it's almost
really
carpal tunnel inducing with how spammy it is
yes,
right now.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It's very uncomfortable, but on the beta, like, even when you're single targeting DPS as well, it's really comfortable, even with FOF thrown in there and this and that.
And I like the slowdown because one of the things that really hurt Fist of Fury in this, especially right now, is because so much energy regen, so much key spamming, we just had nowhere to fit it into our rotation.
Yeah,
and
I find that
slowdown, like, we can actually use it.
My openers and stuff have changed on the beta compared to live. Like, at the moment, I wouldn't, you know, go straight in with the Fist of Fury because I wouldn't have the Tiger Arbury to like generate it all up. Whereas on beta, you have so much from just after like what 6 or 7 melee swings of like blackout kick and stuff that you have the Tiger Arbury sitting there ready to go. So just FOF away, and you can move with FOF as well. Which that was game breaking for me because I wiggle when I DPS. I know it sounds really stupid, but I strafe side to side. So I'm like sitting there foffing, and I'm like, I just cancelled my Fist of Fury. Whereas now on the beta, I can just wiggle. It's fine.
What's really funny, like especially for how my guild does heroic garage openers, we drag them to the back of the room, and I've become so used to planting myself in a certain place, turning and Fist of Furying that when the tank, like, just for unknown reasons, moves him,
jolts forward like on a yard,
jolts forward a yard or to the side, just there goes my opener.
You just want to scream at them and say, no, stay still, please. Whereas Fist of Fury now with the glyph is amazing. I love it.
Thank goodness. Like, it's sad that we had to wait until a new expansion to get it.
Yeah.
But we're getting it.
It's a massive change to quality of life.
Yeah.
So the Eminence healing has now gone up to target's going to be healed for 50% up from 35 of all the damage caused by the monk. Now this is when you are in the
Crane stance.
crane stance, which is the red stance. Is it not good?
I don't use it at all. You don't get a chance to use it in Mythic testing at the moment. We never got any there's never any downtime of healing. There's no downtime. You don't have a time where you can go, oh, I'm just going to switch really quickly and DPS for a bit. There was no time to do that. So the spec's more 5-man-ish, I guess. I don't know. I haven't tested it in 5-mans, but it seems like it's going to be more 5-man-ish. It's not worth taking in raiding. I wouldn't take it in raiding.
Now, my question is that how does that compare to Atonement? Because that's what Fist Weaving has been compared to since, forever, since the start. They're the DPS, hit it to heal it kind of spec.
Yeah.
And, Atonement's still very powerful and still used on progression a lot. So, do you feel like that's, maybe a problem, or has Atonement been kind of brought down too?
If Atonement was the same as Eminence, I'd be jumping for joy.
Right.
We're still not strong. So
this the stance dancing's not happening.
no.
Well, and I think when it comes down to it, I know lots of people hate doing like the damage to heal thing, and it's never bothered me. But I mean, sometimes you get these healers. We had a trial priest just the other day who I assigned him to the tanks, and he's like, oh, I don't actually heal anybody. I just smite the boss. And
That's how I feel on my priest.
and
Works for me.
it's like, wait a second. No, like when people are dying, you actually have to heal them. So
Oh no, I put shields on people.
no, he didn't even do that. So he was bad.
Oh no, I
Alex
do
will
put
tell you.
shields, and the ding one as well. The I am really bad. If
Penance?
it's not my monk, I don't know what the spell is called. No, it dings at people. A prayer of
Prayer of
mending,
healing?
that's it.
Yeah,
Prayer-
prayer of
prayer-
mending.
One of those two. It bings when it moves. It's
The renewing
fine.
mist copycat.
Yes, that thing.
But that being said, monks were supposed to be the healer that could heal while they're doing damage, and that's why I said earlier I really liked how we were at the beginning of MOP, because it really felt to me, other than I realized we were pretty OP and needed to be tuned a little bit, but I felt like we were way more in that position where it should be than we are now, and they're trying to go back to that in Warlords, but they're going to have to fix it where they need to meet that happy medium. I don't know how they're going to do it.
We bring so much DPS though, like at least for me on live as a Mistweaver, I'm pulling like 300, 400k DPS and spoils, for example, and on Garish. So I pull a lot of DPS, but I do like 80k HPS. I'm very much, it's not balanced at all. Like I would even sacrifice like 200k of that DPS just to have healing,
Sure.
Like it's
Because
Yeah, I find the same
because
thing.
at the end of the day, you're a healer. So
Yeah.
that's which is
I
fine
always
if you're
feel
doing
like-
great DPS if nobody's dying.
I always feel like a kind of backup healer. If I look at my healing numbers, I
0.5.
feel like a bit of a backup. But if I look at my DPS numbers, I'm shaming people that are like fully heroic geared, and I'm like, yeah. Check out my digits.
You guys are all in 25-man guilds, though, right?
Yeah.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little different for you guys. I'm in a 10-man, so
25
really
man, and 25 man fist weaving isn't needed at all. That's the sad truth of it. It's just not needed. I can do it because I like to be a DPS whore, but it's not needed. There's never going to be a point in time where that DPS is going to make any difference. That's the saddest thing about it. Like, it never made any difference on progress, even on farm and stuff like that. I do it because I find it fun. But in 10 man, I think is not more important because you have, there's only 10 of you, so you have tighter DPS requirements, stuff like that.
Yep.
I thought it would have been way more important.
When we were running two groups, back when the main group had sort of progressed on through some heroics, and we took our second group, and we managed to get from normal Immersius to Garrosh and started on our own heroics. And when we did Fallen Protectors, because they kind of chucked me in at the deep end. I don't know if anyone remembers, but I got kind of thrown in at the deep end, and it was like, oh yeah, by the way, we need to borrow your druid healer so you can heal for your group now. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a tank. I take damage. I don't know. I don't heal damage. I take damage. but I had to go healer, and it was really, really scary and terrifying. And I had to plague poor Daikatsu for weeks of what I'm supposed to be doing and how I'm supposed to be doing and what buttons to press and what trinkets to use and all that sort of stuff. And I initially started healing the protectors, kind of standing back, not damaging, just doing the, the renewing and the soothings and the,
in 25, man, I did that. I sort of hid back because I was kind of scared of dying from Corrupted Brew.
I was
and
terrified.
I was like, I'm 560 item level. I don't really have the HP to soak one of these things. They're going to one-shot me. Like, I'm going to stay back a bit, but because now that obviously I've got like 800k HP, now I can just stand there. It's fine. But it is very daunting.
Terrifying. I went from being a tank that can stand there and take all of the damage to something that gets looked at in the wrong direction and I'm falling over. So it was absolutely horrendous for me. I've got the other two healers were, because we 3-healed it just because of the way our group was. And we pulled it quite a few times, and we started hitting the enrage timer, which was good because it meant we were getting through the fight. But, so I said, well, okay, well, maybe I can try not standing back so much, and I'll kind of shuffle myself in a little bit, and that extra sort of like 140k I think it was that I ended up pulling got the kill. So
I have a lot of healers, a lot of Mistweavers actually who come to me on Sentry Totem and everywhere, saying that they're a 0.5 healer, like they're half a healer. I'm like, you're not half a healer.
No,
it's your class, but you're not a half a healer. Like they say, oh, we're on protectors or whatever. We've got 2.5 healers. It's like, well, when did we turn into a half healer? Like, I don't feel like
my healing was awful.
Well,
my healing numbers ended up being about 70k, I think.
Yeah, it will be.
I didn't dispel anyone either because I was too busy calling out raid stuff. So I was like, no, you guys can dispel. I'm not doing dispels. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to stand here. I'm going to press Rusting Jade Wind, and I'm going to do nothing else for the entire fight. But it worked. It worked. So Blackout Kick is now going to cause Eminence to heal 5 allies instead of, so it was originally 1, obviously, and it heals for only 20% up for 15 of all the damage dealt instead of 35%. The Pool of Mists now also increases Rem healing by 15% and Rushing Jade Wind RSK. What is RSK? Rising Sun Kick. Hang on, what? Healers have Rising Sun Kick now?
Yeah, we do. We're
really,
really, really slow Windwalker. Because we have a 1.5 second GCD. It's really, really slow. Like even whenever I'm mistweaving on the beta, because I've just switched now to tank healing, I've given up. I can feel that extra 0.5 GCD. It is horrible. I can't stand it. I'm used to having this 1 second one where it's all comfortable and everything flows really nicely. And then whenever the tank starts taking a lot of damage, I'm saying, okay, soothing, surging. I'm like, God, this is so slow. It's because it's 1.5 second GCD. So whenever you're DPSing as a healer as well, it's going to kick in because you're going to be like so used to pressing this button at a certain time. Like, I'm used to literally every second I press a button, I'm used to that. Whereas whenever I changed over onto the beta, it was like, oh my God, this is so slow. It's like there's a door in my face, I can't move. It was I find it pretty horrible. I don't know if anybody else finds it pretty bad, but the 1.5 second GCD for Mistweaver is just, no, I don't like it.
I mean, so is there any compensation for it?
No.
Like, none?
None, no. But you can get haste, I guess. You could stack loads and loads of haste and go back down to a 1 second one, I guess. But then you'd be missing out on versatility, you'd be missing out on crit, you'd be missing out on, I don't know, there's no other useful stats. But you'd be missing out on too many stats to go down to the 1.5 or the 1 second GCD again. So it just does. Like, if you think Windwalker feels slow, go Mistweaver and go Crane Stance. That's slow. It's just horrible. Can't generate energy.
We've had a couple of Brewmaster changes as well. They've buffed the elusive brew from 35% to 45% dodge, and they've modified the chi regen talents like everyone else. And there's something the dojo wants to know about. Let's have a look. General Zod wants to know about the changes to expel harm for Brewmaster. Have you had a look at that yet, Sonia?
I've seen number changes, and I'm kind of curious if I missed something. But
Dojo, answer us. What is this change to expel harm? How do you feel about the sort of elusive brew going up to 45%? I mean, have you been like, is tank damage huge, or is it still? Are we still smooth?
I haven't seen much of a change, though elusive brew tends to be pretty valuable early on when things are kind of going slow, especially before you get stagger it to any level where you need to purify it. So that's a pretty big buff for us. It's the only change we really see lately.
Okay, so as tanks, are we still like smooth damage intake, or have you noticed any sort of spiky differences? 'Cause I mean, my brewmaster, my health just pretty much stays at one place, and I only start panicking if it gets below sort of 80%. I start worrying that I might actually die at some point. But I mean, for me, I find brewmaster really smooth. Oh, is it? But I will get one, so it's fine. I won't have to worry about it. I'll be there in 6.0 crying.
Sunny, have you done any of the mythic testing as a brewmaster?
No.
Okay, our tank went from 1 to 10% HP in a global. So
I've heard.
yeah, not
of
just
stuff
monks.
like that.
It's not just monks. It's all tanks across the board. They get smacked in the face. Like I'm talking. Oh my god! Like if you're comfortable at sitting at 80%, get comfortable to sitting at 8%. Because the tanks are never full. You're never going to be 100% full HP. Like, this is from a healer point of view. Like, all I've been doing is tank healing. And, wow.
Weren't they supposed to do, like, make it so that, slow down healing this expansion so that, you had to make more intelligent decisions about your mana?
You still do. You have to make important decisions about your mana, but the rate is constantly always 70%-ish, 70-60. We're never 100% HP, and it's kind of scary to watch, actually. Tanks just...
See,
scary.
if you have that in Siege of Orgrimmar, if I'm healing, like, I have healed it on my monk, but I generally go and heal it on my priest on heroic with a 10-man group. And if I see anybody's health drop to 70%, I'm literally changing my trousers and throwing as much healing as I can, because for some reason Blizzard thought it'd be a really good idea to go, hey, here's this really cool boss, right? And you get him as a mount as well, but he's going to throw some abilities at you, okay? And if you get hit by one, it's going to do half your health. But that's not enough, because then if you're really lucky, you're going to get hit by 2 more and you're going to die. And the healers are going to do nothing about it because they don't have time except to stand there and watch you go from full health to no health.
I thought that was the whole point, was that it wasn't going to be any more of this. You have people going down to 5% health in one GCD, but apparently they changed their mind.
Yeah, definitely. I've got videos on my Twitch of all our testing, and if you look at my raid frames, nobody's ever 100%. The tanks get smacked, literally smacked in the face. This is through sacks, this is through guardian spirits, this is through life cocoons. They do get smacked. My life cocoon got globaled, and that kind of scared me a little bit. It's nice. It's refreshing, actually, because at the moment for me on live, my raid doesn't go below 90% because we have this priests. So it's nice to see that, like, we have something to do all the time, but you can choose whether to be mana efficient at one point and spam the next. The only issue with all this is there's no more mana regen, so you have to actively get your mana up some other way. Like, shamans are casting Elemental Blast to get Spirit proc. I'm chi-brewing it up and stuff like that. Like, you have to... I use mana pots. Like, I'm just using mana pots.
I don't think I've ever even had a mana pot on my monk.
If you're using Russian Jade, you need it. If you're using
What is mana? What is this crazy thing?
What is this crazy blue stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's all about the chi.
Yeah, it definitely has been. It's a big changer, a big eye opener. Like, nobody's 100%. You're always healing, and if you are a panicky healer who is like, oh my god, they're 70%, you're gonna go home trying to spam them up to 100% because they're never gonna be 100%. You have to come to terms that they're never gonna be 100%. Something's gonna come along and hit them, because you only have 250k HP. That's all you have. Like, that's what I have on my monk at the moment. So and something's hitting you for 60k. Now, at the moment, 60k, I could shrug off 60k. I don't care. But on the beta, I'm like, no, please don't touch me. Go away. It's
that's a quarter of your health. I mean, but that's the thing, though, too, that I think healers need to be aware of, and the other players, too, that, it's okay to not be at 100%, unless, of course, that something big that's is coming. But other than that, it's okay as long as they're not dead. It's okay to be 70%.
Yeah,
gonna have to make
because
the
of the smart
adjustment, I
heels have
guess.
kind of made their dent as well. Like these are no more smart heels. Well, there are smart heels, but they're not as smart. They are. It fills up a gap.
Unintelligent heels.
Unintelligent heels, yes. But no, you do notice it. Like as I said, on my Twitch, there's videos of every encounter that has been released on beta, so you just can flick through that if you really want. They're all categorized, all pretty and stuff. But
And make sure you give us your Twitch channel at the end.
yeah, will do.
Okay.
You know, do you think that's going
Sorry,
to be
go on.
like the biggest, like, more than anything else? Do you think that's going to be one of the biggest, more than the item squish, what people are going to have to adjust themselves to? Is that, just get ready to not be topped off at every moment of the raid?
Yeah, people have to learn to play a bit more, not defensively, but smarter, where you're standing, what you're doing, what's around you, stuff like that. There are a lot of mechanics, like, as said, Black Hand, it's a bit of a spoiler. Is a mechanic in there that will wipe out all your melee. So
Nice.
you have to be smart. And it spawns on top of the melee, so you have to learn to dodge it, and a ranged can set it off if the ranged go anywhere near this big bomb thing. So, and it's not actually that big because the floor is the same color as it. So you have to like really watch where you're standing. It's horrible. Like it's not
At
horrible.
least you can blame someone else for it.
Well, yeah, you can actually blame the floor itself because the floor sets on fire, and fire plus bomb equals blow up. So, yeah.
Just blame the mages. That's what I do. Blame the mages. It's all their fault.
Well, it was a mage actually.
I was just gonna say,
Giving the rage the ability to wipe out the melee. Who designed this fight?
Oh, it's an amazing fight. It's a Black Hand. It's the last boss. It is. Oh, I can't even describe it. It's an amazing, amazing boss. It's in my Twitch as well, but it is a bit of a spoiler because it is the last boss. Which, yeah, but still, it's.
I kind of want to watch it, but I don't at the same time. I don't know.
It's a lot of dying and a lot of blowing people up, and I was Windwalker on it, so you're not going to see much healing, unfortunately. You're going to see a lot of priests and shamans, though, healing.
it's nice to have the surprise, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. That's why I'm not going into the details of the abilities, because that's only one of them. So I'm like, no, stay away. The last boss
I have watched a couple. I've watched some. I've watched a few videos, but I mean, obviously, I'm not in the beta, so I kind of want to not watch too much because I'd like to be surprised when I get there, because then I can cry about it all later on, and everyone else can say, "Dude, we've been crying about this for months, please."
Yeah. Oh no, it is enjoyable. Like the encounters themselves are just, that's really. They're designed well, apart from Butcher, which was bugged out for ages. But the fights are, now that we're on Mythic, I can see like the damage hitting the raid. I can see them hitting the tanks, and you have to be quite smart about what you're doing and your tactic. And it is really enjoyable. Warlords is going to be very enjoyable from pretty much any aspect, really. I just don't want to be misweaving it ever.
I think it's safe to say we're all looking forward to Warlords, which takes us nicely on to our next topic. It's time to meditate and expand our knowledge in
Transcendence.
Okay, so the topic that we've picked to discuss today is how we're going to be preparing ourselves for Warlords, what we're going to be doing. I mean, we've got 3 months ready to go before we get there. I mean, me personally, I'm going to be nose to the grindstone, hopefully, maybe, potentially, possibly, maybe getting Garrosh down beforehand, which would be awesome, but we've unfortunately got a rather large shape of Siegecrafter Blackfuse to get through before Garrosh, and he's not proving to be easy. That fight's a very, very messy, nasty, horrible fight, which makes me want to go and stand in the corner and cry. So what are you guys going to be doing pre-Warlords? Because I think I'm right in saying, except for J. You other 3, you guys have all cleared out now and finished. You've all defeated the mighty Hellscream, and I'm not jealous at all. Not even slightly. Not of the mount. No. Maybe a little bit.
I can invite you to group again and show you if you want.
No. I don't need to see it anymore. So what are you guys going to be doing, and how are you going to be preparing for Warlords?
I'm already prepared. I have been for 5 months or something since we've had this on farm for a year. I don't know, just floating around. I mean, we already have our heirlooms and stuff like that, and there's really no breaks to be taking because we raid for 2 hours a week, so I don't really need a break from that. I need more. So it's, I don't really have anything else to do, from my point at least. Get all my characters their cloaks, I guess. I have still a druid to get sorted out, so other than that, nothing.
How many cloaks do you have?
10.
Oh my
I've got
goodness.
6.
What?
I have 6. I can't say anything.
I
I've
have
got 6.
I was very
working on-
bored.
I'm working on
Yeah,
my third,
same.
and that feels painful.
Yeah, I have 6 cloaks. I'm a cloak fan.
I
You're so
have
pretty.
1. And I have like 0 desire to do cloaks. Do it again. God bless you for being able to do it 10 times. So wow.
It doesn't bother me. We've had the buffs at the moment. Like, we have Gaze of Arrogance, or not Gaze of Arrogance, that's a debuff.
I was gonna say
Yeah, it's a debuff. No, we have the Gaze of the Black Prince.
Right.
is it? Yes,
That's
I
the
had
one.
to tab there and look at it. Yeah, we have the buffs, and I mean, my priest, I got its cloak in 3 weeks. I got all my empires or something. Was it all my empires or my? No, it was my runestones. I got all in 1 week, and then everything else after that, it was just TOT heroic, and then
pretty good. Got
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty nifty.
5 left
sorry.
on my mage. Runestones.
I need 6 on my warrior, I think, for my 11th. So, and I'm done on that character. And it's a character I'm never going to play, just like my hunter and stuff.
You
I have
never
loads of
know.
characters.
You
No,
never
never,
know.
no, it can't heal. If it can't heal itself, I'm not playing it.
That's the only thing I have problems with on my hunter is I don't have any healing stuff, so I just tend to take Spirit Bond and hope for the best. It's really overpowered in PvP. It should be overpowered in PvE as well, but it just isn't. Okay.
Oh, look at
Apparently,
it's really
apparently
strong
200k hits just don't stand up to it. So what's everyone else doing? Sonia, what about you? What are you going to be doing to prepare for Warlords? I mean, you say you've got 15 people already, so are you just guys going to go on a mass recruiting spree, or do you have people that are coming back to the game?
Mostly just mass recruiting spree. And other than that, I've been getting all of my non-rating stuff out of the way so that I can abandon it for another year, just like I always do, like pet battles and achievements and collecting and stuff like that.
All about the pet battles. That's
Right
the
up
two
until rating comes
aspects.
out and you don't want to do anything else, but right now it's great.
Doing archaeology. That's how bored I am.
Archaeology is a fantastic way to unwind, and so scenic as well. You just fly around, and it's fantastic. So, J. Dot, what about you?
Well, I'm kind of with Sunny here, so just doing a lot of recruiting. And then probably going to finish working on Lore Master finally, before they add more areas that need to be cleared. And
Yeah,
I
it's something
miss
I
out
keep
on
meaning
that.
to do as well.
Yeah.
Get like 2 quests done and get distracted by something else and just end up wandering off into the wilderness somewhere and forget what I was supposed to be doing in the first place.
That happens. Or look, there's a pet that I don't have. Yeah, that, and I've been doing a lot of, I've kind of turned into an auction house queen. So just making a lot of gold, and I'll probably start maybe collecting
Feel
some
free
mats.
to send me some. I just spent most of my gold on a kite, but it was so worth it because it looks awesome. It
Yeah.
changes color and everything. It's amazing.
That's awesome. It's totally worth it. I mean, that's really what the gold is for in the game, is to make your life better.
Yeah,
and different.
definitely.
So,
My life is so much better for having that kite.
that's right. It
serious.
makes me happy. Makes me happy.
It does. I wander around in raids with it. All you can see is me wandering around with my little kite flying above my head. It's awesome.
We have Bob in our raids. He has a balloon, and he gets the little pet biscuit thing, so he's a big Bob. And we can't kill bosses without Bob. So, yeah. I get you with the pet thing.
Pet biscuits are meant
biscuits,
for
yeah.
raids. They're awesome. So, Tiger Crane, what about you? You're getting ready for Warlords. You seem very organized.
Yep. Right now it's just like the best time to go out and do stuff away from WoW. Like, going on vacation. It's the end of summer for the Northern Hemisphere. So, doing some trips, getting out with the family, seeing the outside world before I completely abandon it for about 3 months. Also just like doing just standard issue leveling prep, because I went kind of crazy pre-mop for preparing for my monk when we didn't know if you were going to be able to do recruiter friend. I kind of learned some lessons from that, namely just don't work. What I did is I tried to get an agility pot for every single level it existed, and I spent like 2 weeks hunting down somebody on my server with mongoose pot recipe because it's not gone from the game. It's just obscenely hard to get a hold of nowadays. But I had food for every conceivable level, agi pots for every conceivable level, new gear for every conceivable level. I bought pretty much every blue agility piece of leather that was on the auction house. Just time is just gonna be. I'm just gonna have like a lot of extra flasks, a lot of extra food, and just go.
Sounds awesome. So, how what are you guys most looking forward to in Warlords? I think I'm looking forward to the new storyline and the new raid content, seeing the new bosses, testing out all the new mechanics and stuff. Because I mean, there was some really nice mechanics in Siege of Orgrimmar, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see some of the new ones. I did watch one of the videos that some of the guys did on the boss that splits into other bosses and then it splits into more bosses and stuff like that. That sort of the intricate kind of mechanics. I really enjoy things like that. I really enjoy the Paragons fight. I mean, I've not done it on heroic yet, and I wish it was harder than it is on normal because I think they're all so interesting. They've all got all these fantastic.
You're gonna love heroic.
The thing is, they've got all these fabulous different abilities. They all do all these fantastic things. And I mean, I'm a huge Claxy fan anyway. I loved the Claxy storyline. I loved their dailies. I was absolutely devastated when I had to kill Kovok, but I did discover the best game ever. You get Kovok while they're still on the last... This only works if you're a tank. But you get Kovok, you pick him up while they're killing the last few mobs, and you drag him over, and you have to try and kill more people than your other tank can, because he does the swipe thing. 6 is the most I've had out of a 10-man group, and nobody's beaten me yet. So it's... People have got really kind of edgy around me with Kovok now as well, so they don't tend to stand too close.
That's a great way to deter AFKers on trash.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, I'm just going to the toilet 3 hours later. Right, no problem. Oh, you seem to have died. How did that happen? Can I get a res? Nope. Nope. You can walk back in like everybody else.
Yeah.
So what are you guys looking forward to the most?
New content.
Never see the inside of Siege.
I do it 3 times a week. I actually don't mind it. It's okay, I guess. I've grown accustomed to it now. It's
You're
like
just numb to it now.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter what class I'm playing. It's all the same.
I'll just sell for never seeing Siegecrafter again. I don't like that fight.
I like that. I survived the belt for once this week. Like, it's the first time ever on a belt on heroic, and I survived. Touch of karma. Saved my butt. But no,
that's all I get to do on Siegecrafter because I'm on my hunter. So all I do is I go round and round and round and round.
Yeah,
and
not
round.
normal. I don't mind it. On heroic, it's a bit daunting because the beams move weird.
If you jump backwards, you'll stay where you are, and the beams always disappear to the left. They always disappear to the left. It took me quite a few goes and quite a few deaths to figure that one out.
It was my first time on it, and I was just like, right, screw it. I'm not moving. I'm going to stay in the first segment, and that's what I did. It died anyway by the time it reached the second roll, so I was like, yeah, no problem. I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah, see, I didn't do that much damage, so... And there is 2 of us up there, but it's...
There's 5 of us. So 25 man.
How many?
5.
Oh, yeah, you run 25 man, see?
Yeah.
The difference is just...
three Windwalker monks and 2 hunters.
Nice.
We keep going around. But,
I'm looking forward to leveling. I'm one of those weird people that
I
really enjoy that.
I'm allergic.
I like
because I
leveling
like the
too.
story. Yeah.
It's just really good. Also, like, the leveling is so much better than Mist. Like, it is virtually painless compared to how bad Mist was.
I'm allergic to it.
So do you not have... is there not... Without telling me too much, but please tell me that there is not a billion quests where I have to go and collect 20 of this item and 20 of that item and stuff, because those
quests... It doesn't
quests
matter anyway. The quests... The quests have changed now, where if somebody tags a mob, you can tag it too.
Oh, wow, really?
Thing. Like,
that's going to make it easier.
You don't have to be in a group or anything like that. Even if they're Horde or in your alliance, you can still tag it. So they've changed quite a lot of that. That's something I'm looking forward to because I'm on a very, very populated realm. I'm on the biggest realm of the EU. And it's going to be horrible, but because they brought in all this tagging thing, it's not going to be so bad, I guess.
And also, it's really nice because, garrisons, you have an outpost in every zone besides your first one, and you get 2 choices as to what building you're going to put in your outpost, and depending on what building you put there, you get a completely different quest chain. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you can one alt do this building, one alt do the other building, so you do have some variety of choice in what you're doing.
Nice. Well, that's going to be quite interesting then. I like leveling as well, so I'm kind of looking forward to that too.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. Except for in MOP. I haven't, normally by now I have all my characters maxed, and I still have 2 more that I haven't leveled because I just can't do it. Just can't.
I am allergic to quests. I've done 1,000 quests on my account, and I have like 11 12 90s, and I'm just allergic to quests. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I could boost them, but I think it would be a waste of money because one of them's 87, the other one's 85. So
Yeah.
As one of the people from my server just whispered me, going, "If we can get online to level," I was like, "Yeah, yeah." If we can get online to level, because in MOP we had 6K, 4K queues. In Siege of Orgrimmar when it was released, we had 3K queues. So if we can get online, I will be allergic to questing.
you need an anti-AFK device.
You need somebody. You
realm
need a
transfer.
friend. Oh, well, no, they don't do that. Sorry, I was going to suggest like somebody in a different server who can friend you, pull you over to them. Come to mine.
I'm going to
You
a
can
dead
come to-
server to level.
You can come to
Yeah.
Darksphere. Darksphere's dead. There's not many of us on there, especially hordes. You can just come level with me. It'll be fine.
It's horrible. Like we are the Lydian EU server. Like there's 25,000 of us there, and we're all horde. And it's like, oh gosh, we all know each other kind of as well. Like you always know somebody from somewhere, and it's like, oh god, no, please don't come near my mob. Go away, mine. And like you're telling a guild to all disconnect so we can get online. We did that in Siege. Like, please come offline so we can come online, please. So yeah, the server's pretty. I'm not looking forward to leveling on it, but I think a lot of our guildies are leaving the server to level and then coming back, which is pretty
Sounds
scary
like a good
because you're
idea.
leaving your guild. Like we're rank 17 in the world, and to leave the guild is scary because what if I don't get to come back?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what if they don't invite you back? What if they're like,
forget me?
my God, they're gone. Bye bye.
Yeah.
That'd be awful.
Oh, it'd be scary. But I know 2 of our officers are leaving to join another server to level and then coming back. It's like, and they're officers, you know. It's pretty scary thought whenever we have to actually leave our server. Like even if you do an invite to another realm and stuff, it means that that person won't be able to, do very much, like log into that specific character. So we just said, screw it, we'll just level in another realm. So I'm debating it. I mean, I don't mind Kazakh, it's fine, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The queues are the worst. Stay online all the time, 24/7. Yep.
I was gonna say, just don't log off ever.
Yep. Stand in RFC and just stay there. Although I think that's bannable now. But yeah, okay. I'll just move occasionally with TeamViewer.
Okay, it is now time to travel to the Peak of Serenity, the home for all of the monks in
Zen pilgrimage.
Monks, assemble!
Okay, Dojo, we're handing over to you now. If you have any questions for the lovely ladies here, feel free to pop them in now. I'm not sure if there are any questions from the actual email account, so I'm hoping Adam can tell me if there are any. We have a new blog to mention, End of Wad Windwalker, which is the Dangerous Panda blog spot. Sentry Totem, which is Stormy's. Is that your blog, or is it a...
It's a website that look after every class pretty much. It's like a information base. It's very, very good. You get advice from people who are high end and people who do all the theory crafting for classes and stuff like that. You can leave in tickets and they go to people and they advise you what to do. It's very handy.
I used it for my shaman. I got some
Did
really
you?
great
Oh.
advice. Yeah.
I'm the Mistweaver expert.
Nice.
Yeah, there's I think there's a few of us, but yeah, no, it's a good if you're looking for somewhere to get to know your class instead of going to like ICVs and going, oh, this is what I meant to do. You can go to Sentry Totem where the information is all laid out for you, and you can put in a ticket, as J-Dot just said. You can put in a ticket, and somebody will get back to you within like a few hours or whatever.
I mean, they analyze your logs and everything, to break down, and you can ask as many questions as you want. And then, of course, if you like the advice that you get from there, tip your advisor. They like that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I usually, if they're EU people, I can add them to my BattleNet and I can take them through Flex and show them how to do things and show them what they should be doing, this and that. I also run a guide on the EU forums as well, where I take in a lot of monks as well and show them like, okay, this is what you should be doing. I have spreadsheets to show them how to do AMRs and their BIS lists and just everything they ever need to know, sort of thing. So it's all works within Sentry Totem and that guide that I also run. So
that's pretty awesome. Okay, General Zod, we have a question from the dojo. Asks, can you two-hand hit cap, sorry, with no amp trinkets? Yeah, it was bound to happen at some point. So let's pretend that didn't happen. Can you two-hand hit cap with amp trinkets? Anybody?
Not necessarily with the amp trinkets, because they increase your crit damage, not your crit chance.
Okay.
And I don't know. I haven't run the numbers. I am pretty close to two-hand crit cap. Just naturally, I'm way over when you have procs, so that's important to kind of take into account too. Not as easily as bears, though.
Is it? Quick question from myself, actually, for the Windwalkers. Is there any Windwalkers that actually use two-handed weapons, or does everybody go dual wield?
Dual wield is better anyway because of the talent way of the monk.
And so also double weapon procs.
Yeah, that too as well. Sockets as well. Just general, it's better, a lot better in general. If you're using a staff, I found I got energy capped using a staff. I don't know if anybody else has that problem, but I found I was very energy capped all the time, like more than I am now. So it was pretty. Do
you have any more questions from the dojo? They've all gone really, really quiet. Usually they just don't shut up, and now all of a sudden it's just like, no, we have no questions.
It's the accent.
Yep.
Can't help it. I'm sorry. Please, dojo, I'll ask really, really nicely. Ask us some questions. Okay, here we go. Ranking wise, where do Mistweavers fall for Warlords of Draenor? I have all the healers capped. I'm just wondering, are Mistweavers going to be a sought after raiding for post 6.0? I think Stormy may have an answer for this one.
You can delete the monk if you want. It'll do you better. it'll do you better. They are the second best tank healer in Warlords. They're okay AoE, but you will go you will do half the healing of a shaman, half the healing of a priest, and half the healing of everything, pretty much. A tank, even. I spent one mythic trying to catch up with a DK tank on healing. So, reroll if you can. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to reroll.
Nice max level bank alt now. Yep. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually trying to reroll to Windwalker Monk at the moment, which is kind of big because I've been a healer all this tier. So, and I run all the guides and theory crafting and all sorts of stuff, and now I'm giving it up to be Windwalker, or at least trying to. They do not rank very well. We don't bring anything to a raid either. You've got to remember progression is about your CDs. You can bring your niche abilities, stuff like that. Whereas a Mistweaver doesn't bring anything. Revival, you don't even notice it when somebody presses it. Life Cocoon, it's nice that it's on a shorter CD, but it absorbs nothing. It's a global. I mean, literally, you can absorb it in a global. We're not going to be anything that anybody's going to need as of yet. They might change us, they might not, but it's not really going to be something you're going to want, compared to any other healing class. Mythic is going to be 4 healed. There are 5 healing classes, and the other 4 bring something.
Yep.
So, yeah. Even if the numbers and stuff are getting adjusted and this and that, it's not going to be enough. As I'm reading there, there's 30% buff for uplift, it's not going to be enough to keep us going with all the rest of the classes. Compared to like the shamans and everything, it's not. We need a class redesign, not just band-aids. So
Yes, because I was going to ask, like, just while we're on the subject of it more specifically, what do you think the Mistweavers need to be back in the same league as the other healers?
control. We need some sort of control. I know they gave us a pool of mists, but you're never gonna choose pool of mists over chi explosion. You're never gonna do that because chi explosion is just massively insane. It is an AoE heal at 4 chi. You get healing orbs that you can detonate, and at the end of the day, it does 50% of my healing. So I would never give that up. Yeah.
It's like Russian Jade win for me at the moment.
Well, at the moment on
Russian Jade
beta,
win bunny. I love it.
on beta, my top 2 healing is Russian Jade Wind and Chi Explosion. That's just the way it is. Renewing Mist is somewhere on the floor. I lost it somewhere. It's a Chi generator. So it's we need some form of control or something, or a massive buff in somewhere. Revival. I would even have a cast time on revival if it were better, like times 10 better than what it is. I would happily have a cast time, just to have it something useful, you know. I mean, Trank is healing for 4 million. My revival heals for 500k. I don't see any balance here. I know Trank will do like a lot of overhealing and revival won't because of the type of damage we're taking, but still 4 million versus 500k is just not. Yeah, it's not going to be something you're going to want in progression. So it's going to be a bit painful, at least from my opinion anyway, my experience on the mythic testing. It's not all doom and gloom though. I mean, if they do buff us, then we will be okay. So it's
okay.
Yeah. Well,
I think we're going to be okay.
To touch on your point too, that there's that there's going to be 4 healers as the raids progress and people learn how to not take damage and stuff. You'll probably even be able to go down to 3. So, I don't know.
The first boss in High Mall can be solo healed on the beta even.
Wow.
So, and that's 20 man mythic. It's going to be solo healed. So it's not looking very good. I mean, your priests bring your shields and your tank CDs and amazing AoE healing. Shamans AoE healing tide. Druids bring a CR, amazing tank healing. I don't know where they got it from, but they did. And what's the other class? Paladin is your tank healer as well. Amazing AoE healing as well. Tank CDs, Sax, they're the only one with AM. So double beacon as well. Although they're putting a mana cost on that, but double beacons they're the only paladin with a aura mastery. So why would you bring a monk? You can't justify bringing a monk at the moment, even if unless they insanely buffed our numbers and gave us a different talent point or something to be able to compensate with. We bring nothing they need, so it's kind of I'm scared for Mistweavers, for Warlords, but then again I'm holding hope, so we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Ashlorin, I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. It's okay, I'm British. Our brewmaster's going to have the same stamina issues earlier on that they had in MOP. I'm going to have to head over to Sonia for this one probably because I wasn't here at the beginning of MOP. I mean, my monk has no health and I don't care.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point with monks is that we're low health, but we also built around being able to react to having low health. So we're still going to have lower health. We do get a boost. I forget if that's passive now or one of our perks, but so that kind of helps, but then other tanks are getting similar stuff, so we should all still kind of relatively the same health compared to the other ones. But it's not really something to worry about.
I quite like having no health though. I love it when I tank with our guildmaster and he's on his DK and he's rocking around with 1.3 million HP and I'm like 800k. Yeah.
Doing fine.
Yeah, and I'm like, 800k, do you see my health? Is my health, is it moving? I don't see it moving. I'm standing there with Malkarot going, psh, who's the raid boss now? Who is the raid boss now? Because I think it's me. Okay, we have another question. Joe Brewer 00. James Bond, maybe? Does it seem that monks were slightly looked over during the revamp? So I think he's asking, do we feel that... they haven't been given as many Christmas presents as the other classes,
What
perhaps.
spec?
Um,
Like, is it DPS?
Is there any
only?
specific
Any?
spec for that, or
Oh,
we're going to have to
from,
wait because there's going to be a delay in
yeah,
the
I'll just go
dojo
through
now
all
as
of
well,
them.
so we'll just sit here and...
Overall,
While
yeah.
we're waiting for it to catch up, like there is this phenomenon. It's like it's the grass is greener thing. Is that like you see all these classes going on with changes for other classes, and they're getting all these new toys and these new changes, and you feel like, well, where's mine? But it's all relative. As far as Windwalker goes, like the sheer glut of changes we got to Fist of Fury alone. No, I can't say that we felt really overlooked. I mean, we're still getting the show notes. We still have significant talent changes and talent overhaul still going on right now, even though we're technically in the numbers pass stage.
I quite like the Windwalker. Like, they haven't made too many changes. They're very subtle, apart from the Fist of Fury one, obviously. But they're good changes, and they nerfed you here, but they gave you somewhere else. I find that quite nice about what they've done with Windwalker, compared to Mistweaver, which clearly somebody has a blindfold on for Mistweaver, and they just threw it somewhere in a corner and didn't look at it and just thought, okay. I don't think they really have one dev working on Mistweaver as well, which is kind of annoying. We're full of band-aids, and Mistweaver, I think we're very, very overlooked. We're not nobody's looking at us properly. At least I don't think they are. I mean, a lot of people have tweeted to Celestalon saying, and he's replied with, "We are looking at it, blah blah blah," but I don't see any outcome of where he's actually looking at the numbers. Like, we've been crying about Revival all tier, and this tier has been horrible. They ignored us this tier blatantly. They even said they ignored us regarding Manatee. They said, "Oh, it's too complicated at the moment to fix, so we're not going to change it." Okay, they still haven't changed it in beta. Okay, but they nerfed Chibru to an attempt to slow us down, but it's not going to slow us down because we crit is just going to give us the mana back anyway. In regards to Mistweaver, they really have overlooked us. I don't think anybody's really paying attention properly to what we're doing.
What about Brewmasters?
I think Brewmasters haven't gotten many changes, but I think that's just because we started out in a really we already have tools for pretty much any situation. And there just wasn't a lot of need to change stuff.
Clash. I'm still mad about that. I like that spell. I'm sorry. I am probably the only Brewmaster in the whole world that likes that spell.
A lot of Brewmasters love it, but Transcendence is actually pretty cool.
Oh, the instant cast? Yeah, I love the instant cast of it. For a while, though, you couldn't see where you were casting to. Like, you put down Transcendence, but you couldn't see your ghost or your spirit or whatever. You couldn't see it, so you didn't really know where you left it. So it was kind of, Mistweavers, we got our Zen Med taken off us. I'm very upset about that. They took my Zen meditation off me.
So you can't stand in front of Malkarok with it up anymore. I've done that as a Mistweaver. It's hilarious. You literally just stand there.
Brewmasters can do it, I think, and
that's what we
Windwalkers can still do it, but they took it off me, and because we already have Fortifying, we have Diffuse. Why do we need another CD? But I like my Zen Med, but nah, it's alright.
Hey, any final questions before we move on? I think that's pretty much everything from everybody in the dojo. Okay, guys, I think it's time to put the brew away, but first let's go and see those awesome 5-star reviews, of which I am assured there are none, apparently. Is that correct, Adam? He did type us a message earlier. I don't think there are any 5-star reviews. Okay, any iTunes reviews that you've seen? Nope. Okay, please feel free to rate us on iTunes or Stitcher, subscribe on YouTube or on Twitch TV. So let's have some sign-offs and shout-outs from you guys. Sonia, let's start with you. Who do you want to shout out today?
I guess shout out to my guild who is delaying their raids so they can watch me right now.
Yay!
Thanks, Bear Retirement.
Hey, guys.
That's a good guild.
Awesome. Okay, and J.
Shout out to my guild Predestined on US Bleeding Hollow. If you're looking for a home, hit me up. We need ranged DPS.
Okay, and Stormy, what about you?
Just my guild as well, Bonanza. We're just trying to get through to WOD without trying to kill ourselves. And hopefully we do. Without boring ourselves as well.
And Tiger Crane?
A shout out, of course, to my guild of Jantis. Awesome sail runs. We've been nice to have a nice relaxed schedule. Otherwise, shout out to all the other lady monks who've been with me tonight. You guys are really awesome.
Yeah, it's a great group.
I'm going to give a shout out to my guild as well, Midlife Crisis over on Darksphere EU. And thank you so much for putting up with me for such a long time on my little monk. We do have a shout out from Chai and LeBlue. They say, thanks to Burley from Blizzard, who hopped in to run Skyreach Dungeon with them both during the Play with the Devs Day. Burley is a class designer who mains a Mistweaver monk. Mindwalker? It's a new type of spec. As part of the monk community, if you have a blog, website, or person that you want to see on the show, you can reach out to us via email to show@monkmeditation.com. The monk community is one of the best in the world at Warcraft, and we want to showcase it. How can the dojo best reach you, ladies? Please give me your Twitter handles. Tiger Crane?
Well, you can hit me on Twitter at Ashridian.
And Stormy?
Twitter is Stormy_MW.
Jade?
I'm at PlumWD.
And Sonia, although I think everybody should know yours by now.
Yeah, my Twitter is at SunnyerBrew, and you can find me on my blog at sunniersartofwar.com.
My Twitter handle is at darklady_EU, and you can find my blog at brewmistress.com. And you can also follow the show on at monk_meditation. Thank you all for listening. You can watch us live Monday, September the 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, midnight UTC at twitch.tv/wowmonk, or visit monkmeditation.com for links to all the ways to watch and listen to the show. Monk Meditation is part of Catalyst Gaming Media. For other great gaming blogs, podcasts, and events, visit catalystgamingmedia.com. That wraps up this episode of Monk Meditation. May your brews be strong and your heart stronger. And RIP Uplift.